According to the Brookings Institution projections in its The Start of a New Poverty Narrative report, Nigeria has already overtaken India as the country with the largest number of extreme poor in early 2018. And the Democratic Republic of Congo could soon take over the #2 spot. At the end of May 2018, its trajectory suggests that Nigeria had about 87 million people in extreme poverty compared to India's 73 million. These are very distressing figures, if you ask me. 87 million, that's about half of our population living in extreme poverty. And our lawmakers sit down and preside over meetings that discuss 18,000 naira as minimum wage. It is embarrassing, it is scandalous, I can't even find the words to describe that. People are now eating out of dustbins in our country. So what are we going to do about this? It is unacceptable. I have in the studio this morning, or we have in the studio this morning, the DG of Nigeria First, Mr. Ezekiel Nya-Etok, an architect.
Thanks for having me.
And we expect an economist, Mr. Tokwe Fashua, as well as a leadership coach, Mr. Tony Akabuno, to join us in the course of this discussion. So, Ezekiel, 87 million Nigerians living in not just poverty, extreme poverty.
Yeah. Two things. First is an extremely sad commentary. The second is that there is a national vision in our constitution that says that the welfare and security of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. In which case, what you should judge any government by is the welfare and security of the people, according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as the primary purpose of government. Now, when you take that very, very weighty statement and you ask yourself, right from the beginning of our democracy, let's forget about the military rule, which government started by saying our poverty index shows that 68% of Nigerians are in extreme poverty. Now, because our primary purpose is the welfare, and when you talk in terms of poverty index, of course, it's about the welfare of the people. So our target is to reduce that by 10%, by 5%, so that at the end of that administration, we are able to judge and see whether the people have become better. But what we have is, we are the largest economy. We have debased and all that. What we can say is that, we've built a number of roads. We have done this. Our power generation has moved from 5 megawatts to 7 megawatts. These are the things that we are celebrating as government. And we, the intellectuals, we, the elites, we are not asking and say, please, 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 let's use the proper, index. How many people have come out of poverty since you came? Today, I think that we should have a national discourse. I'm non-partisan, but we should put APC on the spot and say, how have we become the poorest nation in the world?
Under your watch.
Under your watch. And APC would have been able to make a point if they said, before we came in, it was 65%. Now it is 63%. So we've reduced, we've made a marginal gain. Now, but give me those lame excuses of, 16 years, of 16 years, of 16 years. You know why that is so? Because I would like to see, I wish Tokwe Fashua was here, because he's one of the young people I'm looking forward to change the dynamics of the politics of this country. I would like to hear him tell us his game plan to change that narrative. People are starting to talk, they want to be president, they want to be this. How many of them have we put on the spot?
Now, there was a response from the Minister of National Planning that only the MBS calculates Nigeria's poverty index, and that is what we will take, because, I mean, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics is the one that gives us Nigeria's data.
Yes.
So that's what we should rely on.
Yes.
That will be calculated in 2019.
Yes.
But before that,
Yes.
do you think leaving the poverty, moving above that poverty line,
Yeah.
is the sole responsibility of government?
The Constitution says that the security and welfare shall be the primary purpose of government.
Okay.
And what is government within democratic context? Democracy is the greatest good to the greatest number of people. And we know that the greatest number of people are always the poor. So government is that institution that manages our common patrimony for the benefit of the generality of the people, particularly the weak, the vulnerable, the poor. Because take for housing. In housing, you have three dimensions: social housing, what you may call affordable housing, and luxury homes. Luxury homes for the rich, they can take care of themselves. All government needs to do is give them an enabling environment to enjoy their money. And of course, government makes money from them, taxes them. Mm-hmm. The second one is affordable housing. The young banker, you know, the young person working and all those things, it's difficult. Government subsidizes by way of making lands available, maybe reducing the cost of certain materials to make it more affordable. They can play, the private sector, they play on those levels. But the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by way of the housing policy which is adopted, the policy is not the Constitution, the Constitution makes it, the policies help to define the essence of the Constitution. In the policy, it makes clear that the wandering psychopath, that's a madman, is entitled to a home. Now, that man cannot play on the economic levels, you know, the supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So it is the place of government to look at the vulnerable, to look at the weak, to take responsibility. And that whole facet is called social housing or subsidized housing. Now, corporate social responsibility will make people to say, these are our brothers, excuse me, let's support them. You know, it's good-heartedness. But it's not a responsibility, it's not an obligation of a businessman, but it is the obligation of government. So what am I trying to say? For us to say others should play a part, I agree with you completely. Everybody should. We should be our brothers' keepers. And let me tell you what we don't even know. The greatest caregivers to the poor is not government today in Nigeria. It's the faith-based organizations. Every church runs a benevolence department. Mm-hmm. And the amount of money they spend on a daily basis. People say churches should pay tax and all those things. I look at them. What the churches spend on social responsibility is over 40% of their earnings. I've been in churches all along, and I know what each church does on a weekly basis. But let's come back and put ourselves. Let me give you what will shock you today. Poverty is a tool, and no soldier is going to hand over his gun to you. No soldier will hand over his gun to you. Poverty is a tool. Now, democracy has become an enterprise in Nigeria, and every politician knows that he has two responsibilities: How do I gain power? How do I retain power? He has no third. How do I get power? How do I retain power? Okay, we now say it's democracy, so people should vote. No problem. I've got to make the vote buying affordable to me. My guy, if anybody comes to Alero here and wants to get her vote, bros, the price is high. It's not going to work. Because when she starts saying, well, VI, a home, you are talking in terms of millions. So, and what does she have? One vote. So bust her, forget her. Make these people so poor that if I have 100,000, I should get 1,000 votes.
Or more.
Or more. So the poorer the people are, the more affordable they are to me. I owe them absolutely nothing.